What would you do if in the middle of your college or grad program you dealt with a severe crisis? For many first-gen students in California, this is not a hypothetical question. This is a current reality. It doesn't sit well to sit here and not acknowledge the fact that in June 2025, there have been ICE raids and they are ongoing across the Los Angeles area. And this has been impacting a lot of individuals, including first-gen students. This has been happening during times of celebrations. I've heard about ICE raids happening in elementary school graduations of all places. It is incredibly heartbreaking, and I know too many individuals to count who have been affected. Maybe it was your family. Maybe it was your roommate. Maybe it was your roommate's parents. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're afraid to show up to class because of this heavy fear that you hold in your chest, or because of the grief that you're experiencing in your gut. If you're feeling this way, if you're resonating with what I'm saying, please know that this episode is for you. This episode is for anyone who comes from an undocumented or a mixed status family. This episode is for anyone who has loved ones who are impacted by this. This is for anyone who actually cares, who gives a damn about their community. So I'm going to walk you through doing what I do best, which is sharing some resources to help you to protect yourself and your well-being as best you can during an incredibly difficult time. And let me be honest, y'all, I had a completely different plan for what I was going to do with my podcast in June. I was planning to lay low and do some replays because my life has been messy too. And this month has been a lot for me. Personally, I won't share the details, but there's been a lot going on with me. I was planning to do some replays, but in light of everything that's happening, I am recording this a day before releasing it. This is Thursday, June 12th, because what's going on right now is something that we cannot stay silent about. So this is about more than just grad school. This is about more than just promoting higher education. This is about us taking care of ourselves. This is about survival. So let's get into it. Welcome to the award-winning Grad School Femtoring Podcast, the place for first-gen BIPOCs to listen in on inclusive grad school stories and learn about personal development and productivity tips. This is Doctora Yvette Martinez-Vu, a certified coach, consultant, and author, and I will be serving as your femtor, providing you with insider knowledge to help you reach your personal and professional goals. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Grad School Femtoring Podcast. This is your host, Doctora Yvette. Today's episode is not an easy one for me to cover because it's on a difficult and urgent topic. It's all about how do we support our undocumented students and students from mixed status families, as well as anyone who has been impacted by the recent ICE raids in Los Angeles. So we'll start with what's been happening. ICE has been raiding all types of communities in LA since the start of this month. They've been detaining immigrant community members, kidnapping them. This is impacting so many individuals, and for this episode, I'm going to be focusing on first-gen college and grad students because those are the individuals that I work with the most. I work with a lot of first-gen Latina individuals, and this is not something that I can stay silent in. It keeps coming up over and over and over again. It's something that I have to hold space for in my one-on-one work, in my work meeting with college students, graduate students, program directors, and I thought I would extend this conversation beyond what's happening one-on-one and into my podcast too. So how might this be impacting you if you are someone if you're a college student or a grad student and you are also impacted by these ICE raids in LA, one is you might find yourself avoiding your campus. You might find yourself dealing with more caregiving responsibilities, especially if you have a loved one who was detained. You might be dealing with an overwhelming amount of grief, devastation. You might feel the pressure that you have to keep going. You have to do your best. You have to suck it up and keep going because maybe everyone else in your life is dealing with the crisis and you're the one that's away from home in college. Maybe you feel the heavy weight of having to be the emotional support person in your family. You're the one that people go to for emotional support, financial support, logistical support, research, translation, interpretation, etc. That is a lot. That is heavy. And because of that, I want you to know what you can do to take care of yourself. First off, you need to know your rights. And odds are, if you come from an undocumented or mixed status family, you know this very well. You know this more than even I do. You probably know your rights. And also, it's a reminder of making sure that your loved ones also know their rights. There are resources like the ILRC Know Your Rights Toolkit and other online resources that you can share so that you can make sure that everyone around you also knows their rights. If in the unfortunate and devastating situation of ICE showing up in your home, in your community, in your work, or in your school. Another thing to do is to make sure you have a family emergency plan. Who are your emergency contacts? Where are your legal documents if you might need them? Who will take care of the children? Who will take care of the dependents if someone is detained? Also, what access to legal supports do you have? As a student, make sure that you tap into your university campus resources, whether it's an undocumented student center, a dream center, as they often offer free legal workshops and pro bono legal services. Another thing that might be coming up for you is that you might be dealing with financial insecurity. So if that's the case, see about whether or not the Undocumented Student Center, the Dream Center, the Basic Needs Center has any emergency funds that you can tap into. Another thing to do, if you feel safe and comfortable enough to do this, is to communicate with professors and TAs about this. They can, at the very least, extend flexibility on assignments. It's important for them to know that you're dealing with family emergencies and that you're not just intentionally slipping up on assignments. So again, if you need those accommodations, please communicate with your instructors, with your professors, with your TAs. Now, what else can you do if your friends and loved ones are undocumented? Make sure that you are checking in on your peers. This is something as simple as sending a message like, how are you holding up? Just want to check in on you. This is something that I was doing over the weekend, checking in on friends and family who I know who might be impacted by this. I have a lot of loved ones in LA. I'm originally from SoCal. Another thing that you can do is to accompany others. So offer to be there and to show up in person. So you can show up with a friend to legal clinics, to student support centers. If you're on a campus, you can be the one to walk your students to on-campus counseling and psychological services. This is something that I would do a lot when I worked on campus as well as a staff member, is when I knew there was a student in crisis, not only would I tap them into the resources and share them with them, but I would also physically walk with them to ensure that I was there with them as they booked an appointment for counseling services. So use your privilege, do what you can, amplify voices. I mean, I want to extend an invitation. If you're someone who knows a lot about the undocumented student community and how to best support them, please come to the podcast. I'm happy to interview you because you know more than I do. So I want to be the one to use my privilege as a podcast host to amplify your voice in the service of supporting others. Make sure you share resources thoughtfully. Don't overwhelm people, but share if and when it's relevant. Also, listen. Listen, don't just listen to respond. Actively listen to the folks around you who are dealing with the crisis. Listen to understand. Don't listen to try to solve their problems. Listen and truly try to hear them out. Do they just need to be seen and heard? Do they need access to resources? Do they need something else and you can refer them to something else? But please, please, please be there for your loved ones. Please check in on them. Now, in terms of campus-wide resources, make sure that you are tapped into your undocumented student services center as well as your basic needs center. Make sure that you're tapping into counseling services, pro bono legal services. See about financial aid and other types of emergency support that might be available if you're dealing with a financial crisis as well. And then, of course, there are national legal and mental health resources. So I will make sure to link some of those in the show notes, additional resources that you can look into. Yeah, the last thing I want to say is really focusing in on your own sustainability. And by this, I mean, you got to focus on your non-negotiables right now, on the top priorities, because you can't do it all. So what's the bare minimum that you can do right now to survive, to take care of yourself, to show up? Make sure that you continue to check in on others. You have others who can check in on you. Make sure you're resting. And this is where this concept of sustainable activism comes in. If you are active, if you are showing up, if you are going to protests, if you are going to rallies, then you need to make sure that you pace yourself, make sure that you're resting, because if you want to be able to be around for this work ongoing, then you need to make sure that you take care of yourself. So the last thing I want to say is, if you have the capacity, support your local advocacy organizations. You can do that by donating or volunteering your time. You can make sure that you support students in accessing resources. So if you have access to resources or know about resources, share it with them. Continue to advocate for policy change, especially on your campuses. Make sure that your campuses they have like sanctuary policies. Make sure that you can advocate for more accessible emergency funds. Create safe and brave spaces around you. So whether that's organizing events to promote well-being or being involved in support groups. I remember when I was on campus at UCLA, I reached out to the director of the Counseling and Psych Services Center to start a new support group. So again, create spaces, create the resources when they are not there. Continue to build community. And you do this within and outside your institutions, because we know this, that when institutions fall short, it's our communities that are there for us. So again, the last thing I want to leave you with is that there might be a lot going on for you in your life. It might feel like there's so much going on and not enough people know about it, but please know that I see you, I hear you. You're not alone. You deserve to be safe. You deserve dignity. You deserve to have access to a future. Your loved ones deserve that as well. You matter. Your family matters. Your community matters. We're all here. We're here. So tap into the resources, check out the show notes, check in on a loved one. And that's all I can say for now. Stay safe, everyone. Stay strong. And as always, I'll talk to you all next time. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, here are 3 ways you can support the show. The first is to make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The second way is to get your copy of my free resource kit linked in my show notes. This kit includes tools, worksheets, and podcast playlists on all things grad school, productivity, and personal development. The third way to support my show is to follow me on social media. You can find me on Instagram with the handle @Grad School Femtoring and on LinkedIn by searching my name. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.